I think the Brian Hartline situation has gotten out of control. This isn't just about the play calling and Ryan Day taking it back from Brian Hartline. This isn't about him saying he struggled with the timeline here, now becoming the head coach for South Florida. There is more now to the Brian Hartline story, the transition out of Ohio State. We're getting into that. We're also getting into a possible replacement for Brian Hartline here on the Ohio State Football Report. As we close December, I'm reaching out to you guys on a final push. I want to make sure we have this thing in the bag. Michigan has some of the biggest storylines in college football right now, and yet they still can't beat us in a sub battle. We have a nice lead. Let's make sure we finish strong. Hit that sub button to win the December sub battle. For Hartline, yesterday, we got the news that Ryan Day would be the main play caller for Ohio State during the college football playoff. He said it would be a group effort, but he would have the final call. Thought it was a nice way of saying, like, I'm going to go back in charge. We've heard from Brian Hartline it's been tough. We've heard from Ryan Day that it's been tough. I wasn't overly surprised by this part. I don't love him consistently going to Florida time and time again while the Buckeyes are in an important time of year as he takes that South Florida job. But what I really don't like is Brian Hartline recruiting Ohio State commits in the midst of coaching the Buckeyes, in the midst of, at times recruiting for Ohio State, Chris Henry Jr. in this final stretch. And now he has reached out. We find out South Florida, his brother now hired as the quarterback's coach. He's got an OC. He's got his DC. He reached out to none other than Jeremiah Smith's little brother, Angelo, to see if he would, they offered him, right? He received an offer to play for South Florida, part of the class of 2027. No, he would not play with his brother at Ohio State, but he is committed to Ohio State. He committed back in September, and yet while Brian Hartline will be coaching the Ohio State receivers, he is recruiting Jeremiah Smith's little brother to go to South Florida. Stay with me here. Yeah, I know, it's a little confusing, but look, after the play calling fiasco, now we got this news, I think it was over the weekend, Sunday, but, we're getting caught up here on the Ohio State Football Report and bringing you news as it comes and as we can get it to you. I want to hear from you, your reaction to hearing something like this. Coach on the staff, recruiting players committed to Ohio State for his new team that he will go to. I don't know exactly when he will actually go to South Florida, but I know he's working for South Florida, trying to recruit Angelo Smith and maybe other players. Who knows? We know Bryson Rogers at the transfer portal. Give me your one-word reaction to Brian Hartline trying to flip Angelo Smith from Ohio State to South Florida. Now, when it comes to Angelo Smith, we've enjoyed this story. We've talked about this story here on the Ohio State Football Report. Not the greatest recruit. You got a 3-star. You got a safety. We know who his brother is. You've seen pictures. He is much smaller. Doesn't even play wide receiver. He plays safety. I don't really care. A recruit's a recruit. A commit's a commit. He is set to be a Buckeye. Stay out of the business, pal. Recruit your anyone else's people, really. If you're still working for the Buckeyes, then work for the Buckeyes. Don't worry about, South Florida and flipping and, maybe turn him into a receiver. I don't want to hear it. Angelo Smith will be a good addition to this 2027 class. Stats from Max Preps on his senior year. Solid stuff. This is a kid you got to get in the Ohio State facility, bulk him up, figure out what position he can play. But the key here is get him to Ohio State, right? That's the big deal here now, is that you got to get him to Ohio State and make him a Buckeye. It's time to challenge the status quo, and Polymarket is now live to help us do so. You can be a part of the revolutionary alternative to sportsbooks with our special invite code. Download Polymarket's new app now via the special link that is in the description and comments to unlock the exclusive early access and get free $10 in your account with the invite code CHAT. Polymarket is a prediction marketplace that lets you make trades on the outcome of sporting events, and as you can see here on screen, you can even buy and sell within a game with live trading. Polymarket has the lowest fees ever. You trade against other people, not the platform. You can cash out anytime and react to momentum swings within the game because you are in control. It's legal and available nationwide in all 50 states on their iOS app now. This week's NFL game that I really, really like, San Francisco and Chicago. Polymarket is giving San Francisco a 63% chance to win. I'm rocking with Chicago because San Francisco is on a short week. $10 free is waiting for you now. No card, no deposit, nothing. Download the app with our exclusive code CHAT at chatsports.com/Polymarket for exclusive early access and $10 free. This situation's gotten pretty messy. with Brian Hartline, in my opinion. Goes back to the play calling. It goes back to him openly admitting it's been extremely hard for him to adjust to the play calling, to the new job, to the old job, to being in it. During his downtime, it's not preparing for Indiana. It's traveling to Florida. During his downtime, it's not getting ready for the CFP. It's traveling to Florida. It's trying to flip recruits. This thing is out of control, like I said. And what happened to the smooth transition? I saw other college football players telling me to relax, that this is easily done. I see all our fans freaking out, and our watchers here on the Ohio State Report freaking out. Other people saying, relax, he can handle it, and he knows the offense. Ryan Day's involved anyway. Next thing you know, Ryan Day's back in control. Hartline's still going to be up in the booth, still going to coach the wide receivers. I don't know. I wasn't on this train. Definitely feels like a appreciate you, big part of this team, but not anymore. Time to move on. I think the situation's gotten messy and a little bit out of control. Now, we are going to look at a possible Hartline replacement that we heard more about during media availability for Ohio State yesterday from the press. Specifically, Jeremiah Smith talking a little bit about what the Buckeyes are doing in preparation. The name Keenan Bailey over and over and over again being mentioned. Smith says he has been spending more time with the wide receivers. Yeah, Keenan Bailey, the tight ends coach, spending more time with the wide receivers. Again, just another good opportunity to just let Brian Hartline walk. I don't know why you want to go back to your old job and help the receivers and be in the booth, but also with the quarterback coach who's also talking to buddy, just walk. I love Brian Hartline. It's time to go. He will be with the Buckeyes, it appears, through the CFP. However, we were told that he would be calling plays the CFP. So we'll keep an eye on that. Sticking with Bailey, again, a name we keep hearing more and more about. Currently the tight ends coach. He was on my initial Hartline replacements list. We had a top 10 if you want to go back and watch it. Spoiler alert, here's my top 5. Has changed. It's actually been a couple weeks, but I would still put Bailey towards the top. We'll talk Chip Kelly in just a second. It's still a life raft for Tommy Rees over in Cleveland. Ryan Day, literally it happened, right? I told you Ryan Day could just do it. He literally is just going to do it for Ohio State. But with Bailey, I want to go back to a quote from Spencer Holbrook of Letterman Row. He talked about his standing in the facility, noting he's already in the building and has the trust from Day and the rest of the Ohio State offensive brain trust. Bailey has worked extensively with every position group on the offensive side of the ball with the Buckeyes, and it has been a repeated priority to keep him in the Woody Hayes Athletic Center in each of the last few seasons. We already saw 2 coaches move on, offensive line, defensive line. They moved on to other positions, assistants now, wherever and whatever. Bailey, they've made sure to make sure he stays. Will Keenan Bailey be the next Ohio State offensive coordinator? Hearing more about him. Now he's doing what Hartline did before, working with wide receivers. Seems like it's possible. Maybe just a wide receivers coach. I don't know. I want to hear from you. Will Keenan Bailey be the Buckeyes' next OC? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Hartline replacements. The recent news surrounding this position. I don't want to say it's heating up, but we've gotten information little consistently here. Again, former LSU wide receivers coach, Cortez Hankton, who's also co-offensive coordinator. So we don't know if he interviewed for OC or wide receivers coach. It was just an offensive position was the report. Chip Kelly, who I know a lot of you thought would be like plug and play for Ohio State. Haven't heard a word about him except he interviewed with Georgia Tech. So we're keeping our eye on that. And then again, Bailey working with the wide receivers more and more with Ohio State. Look, the Hartline process feels slow right now. I don't feel like the Buckeyes have just brought in a bunch of names. I don't think we've heard any rumors about. Seemed like Brian Dable was going to get steamed. That got shut down. It's just Ryan Day took play calling back. The process has been a little slow. I think that's very interesting here. Now, look, I think if they go through it, if it's awkward timing, if people keep, getting other jobs and not this one, I think Ryan Day calling plays with Keenan Bailey doing what Brian Hartline did and just up in the booth and learning, it's a great plan B. And I think you're about to see it in the college football playoff. Bailey down on the sideline, he kind of actually follows Ryan Day around during the game. You can notice that. But my big thing is, I'm not worried about the OC. Focus on the college football playoff. That's what I actually think this was from Ryan Day. Took the controls back, literally, calling the offense, making sure things are centered on the college football playoff. Because if he left Brian Hartline there, then it's about how can we make sure Brian's adjusted well and the offense isn't getting lost in the sauce here. No, it's, you know what? Things are getting out of hand. Give me that. My offense. Let's ride. I like that mentality more than rushing to find an OC, more than, as some of you have said, like, give Chip Kelly a month-long contract. I'm going to pass on that. If you guys agree with me and you want the Buckeyes to wait to name their next offensive coordinator, drop slightly below the video, hit that thumbs up button, and the Buckeyes will get their OC after the college football playoff.